To see this fight stop right
Yeah,
now.
it's over.
Yeah,
Good
there
call.
it is. Jean Silva with a huge victory.
Your winner by TKO, Jean Silva!
Since Ilia Topuria's departure from the 145-pound division, the primary supplier of brutal knockouts at featherweight is 28-year-old prospect Jean Silva. Packed with one-punch knockout power and riding a 12-fight winning streak, this Brazilian is here to decapitate Bryce Mitchell next and set his sights on gold later this year.
You barking up the wrong tree, mother.
But there's more to Silva than meets the eye. He has an alter ego that turns him into a beast, and only one person can keep that beast in check when Jean isn't fighting. As he faces the biggest test of his career, it's the perfect moment to recall every time Jean Silva annihilated his opponents.
Yeah, it's over.
Jean Silva was born on December 13, 1996 in Foz do Iguaçu, Paraná, Brazil. His wife, Carol, has been by his side from the very beginning, even joining him in his journey into Muay Thai. This martial art became Silva's path to redemption, and here's why. Silva has an alter ego, a powerful identity he refers to as Lord or Lord Assassin, which emerges during intense moments in the octagon or while fighting. While this persona can be an advantage in the cage, it poses a serious threat if it surfaces outside of combat. Fortunately, Silva credits his wife for helping him keep Lord in check beyond his fighting career. With Carol by his side, Silva is confident that his darker side will stay confined to the octagon. Jean Silva made his professional debut on November 19, 2016, when he stepped into the cage against Lorenzo Rodriguez. Lord Assassin kicked things off with a fierce kick, setting the stage for a vicious flurry of hooks. Building on that momentum, Silva launched an all-out assault, unleashing punches like missiles in a battlefield, and securing the win just 15 seconds into the fight.
O que aconteceu ali, o árbitro já interviu.
His MMA debut was a baptism by fire, and he emerged unscathed. Fast forward to November 2018, the heavy-handed Brazilian was set to square off against Muniz Martins dos Santos. Fresh from two remarkable submission victories, Silva expertly maneuvered his opponent into a trap and delivered a strike so precise it left Santos semi-unconscious on his butt. The following year, Jean Silva faced Henrique Santos, a seasoned fighter with almost 30 matches under his belt. Silva made his intentions clear from the very start, engaging in an all-out brawl. His opponent tried to calm the storm by taking Silva down, but neutralizing him was like trying to climb Mount Everest wearing flip-flops. Frustrated by the clinch, Silva executed a textbook judo throw, flipping his opponent to the mat. A pair of brutal knees to the liver left Santos vulnerable, forcing him to change his stance. In desperation, Santos exposed his neck and Silva, ever the technician, transitioned into a flawless submission, ending the bout with a picture-perfect choke.
Vamos ver. E final de combate. É isso aí, galera. Em breve mais combate para você.
On March 8, 2020, Lord Assassin took on the 7-2 Tamidre Lacerda. Looking to avoid Silva's striking prowess, Lacerda moved the fight into the clinch, but he soon found himself struggling for air. Lacerda managed to survive the guillotine attempt and even took Silva's back as the two grappled for control. When Lacerda sought to end things quickly, he underestimated Silva's resilience. Lord Assassin reversed the position, and after a series of ground exchanges, the fight returned to a standing position. That's when Jean unleashed a flying knee. A devastating strike that sent Lacerda crashing into unconsciousness. The next year, Jean Silva returned to the cage to take on the 5-2 Adriano Souza, who promised to offer a serious challenge. But as the first round neared its end, Lord Assassin had no intention of letting his opponent escape. Out of nowhere, Silva landed a thunderous punch that wobbled Souza, and the follow-up left hand was the final blow that ended the fight.
Game over the road to future! Espetacular! Sanguinário! Tirou o pino da granada e lançou.
Next on Jean Silva's hit list was Thiago Souza, a knockout specialist with a perfect finishing record. The bout kicked off with Souza delivering a cheap shot, a blatant challenge, but Silva's experience kept him unfazed. Like a patient predator, Silva stalked his opponent, reminiscent of a real-life Jason Voorhees. Silva soon launched a well-timed offensive, prompting his opponent to shoot for a takedown. However, Jean quickly locked in a submission, wrapped up like an unwelcome holiday gift. Souza was left with two choices, tap or nap. He opted for the tap. Though Lord Assassin entered the audience for just 50 seconds, this victory marked the beginning of a nearly 2-year hiatus. He made his comeback on February 4th, 2023, squaring off against Valdemir Cordasso at Spartacus Fight Event 28. Silva wasted no time and opened with a front kick reminiscent of Anderson Silva, though his opponent absorbed it better than expected. Jean followed up with a swift 1-2 combo and capped it off with a flying knee. He continued to land sharp boxing combinations, leaving his opponent unable to counter. From then on, Silva controlled the pace of the fight as his opponent stoically took shot after shot. Exhausted and on the verge of collapse, Cardoso could no longer withstand the punishment and became an easy target for Silva's strikes. Finally, a crushing right hand from Silva put Cardoso out for good. The sight of him unconscious, slumped against the cage, was chilling. Eager for more action, Lord Assassin returned to the cage just 1 month later to take on Shaheen Najafi, an Iranian knockout artist known for his heavy hands. Though some believed Najafi would be a tough challenge for Silva, the Iranian called it quits just 2 minutes and 15 seconds into the first round. This dominant performance earned Jean Silva the opportunity of a lifetime, a spot on Dana White's Contender Series 61. His opponent was Kevin Vallejos, the fighter standing between him and his UFC dreams. Vallejos became the first man to last all 3 rounds against Silva, but the Brazilian's dominance was clear. Silva secured a unanimous decision victory, thoroughly controlling the bout. Impressed by his performance, UFC matchmakers wasted no time in welcoming Lord Assassin to their roster. Jean Silva made his UFC debut on January 13, 2024, facing Weston Wilson, a tall fell with a dangerous submission game. The size difference between the two was undeniable. Jean almost needed a step stool during the stare down to meet Wilson's eye level. The fight hit her at 145 pounds since Ilia Topuria. UFC matchmakers took note and decided Silva was ready for a higher level of competition, pitting him against Charles Jourdain next. Jourdain, a high-level BJJ black belt with 6 submission wins and 8 knockouts on his resume, was no stranger to finishing fights. Only 2 of his victories had gone to the judges, meaning Silva was walking into a battle with someone who had no interest in seeing the scorecards. The battle began even before the octagon door closed, as Silva missed weight for the first time in his professional career. But there was no time to dwell on it. Lord Assassin had a mission to continue his rise. Aware of Silva's knockout power, Jourdain avoided exchanging strikes. Choosing to victory, Lord Assassin wasted no time and accepted another high-stakes challenge, stepping into the octagon against Drew Dober, a relentless brawler known for rushing headlong into violent exchanges. Dober, a Taekwondo black, limited to featherweight, but could be just as destructive, if not more, at lightweight. Silva knew the stakes were high, and his goal was to demonstrate that his heavy hands could carry up with him to the bigger weight class. From the opening bell, both fighters wasted no time and take its toll on Dober. His face started to show the damage, swollen, bloodied, and bruised. By the end of the round, Dober walked away with his unbeaten UFC record still intact, adding yet another impressive win to his resume. Less than a month later, on February 22, 2025, Silva found himself stepping back into the cage, this time to face Melsik Bagdasaryan, a striking phenom with experience in both boxing and kickboxing. Bagdasaryan, undefeated as a boxer with 3 victories, also boasted a 9-2 kickboxing record and had once challenged for the prestigious K1 welterweight title. If anyone in the lightweight division had the striking pedigree to challenge Jean Silva on the feet, it was Melsik Bagdasaryan. There was significant buzz around the fight as fans anticipated a stand-up war between 2 elite strikers. Bagdasaryan's technical prowess and versatility in both boxing and kickboxing made him a dangerous foe. But Lord Assassin was ready to prove that the gap between him and the rest of the competition was vast. It didn't take long for Silva to show just how wide the gap was. Throughout the first round, Silva stayed patient, measuring his opponent's movements. Then, in the final minute of the round, Silva saw his opening and delivered a picture-perfect 1-2 combo. The strikes were precise, powerful, and lightning fast. Bagdasaryan didn't stand a chance. The impact shut off Malsik's lights instantly, sending him crumbling to the canvas. At just 28 years old and yet to hit his prime, Jean Silva has a singular mission in his sights: dispatching Bryce Mitchell next and systematically hunting down the top 5 featherweights until the gold belt is finally wrapped around his waist. With a nuclear option in his hands and an alter ego that unleashes a ferocious inner beast, Lord Assassin is built for chaos. And every fight he enters is an electrifying spectacle that leaves fans on the edge of their seats. But the real question remains: does he possess everything needed to rise to the top and become a dominant UFC champion? If you enjoyed the video, front kick that like button, subscribe to the channel, and join the Dialed In MMA Club today.